Good evening. This is the ASCA board meeting for March 11th, 2021. We are all present. Carol, Denise, Gina, Jen, Jean, Judy, Rick, Warren, and Kala is also present. In case you don't know how this is done, if this is your first time listening in, we have some items on the agenda. We're going to go down that agenda item by item. And directors are given the opportunity to comment. If there is a motion, then we'll vote on it. So the first item for tonight is last month's email business.
This is Denise. I motion that we accept the minutes as read from last meeting. Thank you.
This is Gina. I'll second.
So there is a motion by Denise, seconded by Gina, to approve last month's email business. Any further discussion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right. The next one is the computer system update. Warren?
Hi, good evening. So I think many of us were at the proposal by Inventive a couple weeks ago, and hopefully people got some idea of what Inventive has to offer. So since then, several of the volunteers on the system committee have raised some questions about ongoing costs, hosting, questions about specifics on the platform, and very much I would say there's a sort of a thread of questions of do we know, and therefore does Inventive know exactly what needs to get done. And so I think those are all very relevant questions, and I thank the volunteers who are on the system committee. I think those, they may be things that we as the board want to discuss in more detail. I don't have a conclusion at this point. I'm still working with the folks in Inventive, to try to get more details on certain things and work on specific questions that some of the committee members have asked. But I think I would like to have a time where the board can discuss and sort of deliberate where we're headed, how we want to head with this, at what speed. I had talked earlier, or maybe as early as last fall, that the finances of the club were in pretty good shape, and in the budget, we don't have a specific capital budget, but I alluded to, well, maybe we could spend some money this year and then roll into some money next year. The way it's looking now with Inventive's proposal is that they would accelerate that, which actually in the development sense makes really good sense, but we would be spending all the money this year, and that wasn't in my mind, and so I kind of wanted to stop and think that through. So I'm not sure if tonight, especially since the agenda was so big and we don't really have a discussion phase for that here, I think I'd like to try to get, whether it's at our next meeting or whether it's a special meeting just for folks who are interested in the system committee, but I'd like to have a more broad discussion, and I guess that's my report for tonight.
Thanks, Warren. I guess my thinking about this is that before we discuss this among ourselves, meaning the board, I think that we need to have whatever questions from our volunteers answer, whether it is through a meeting between them and Inventive, so that they can, ask whatever questions about the architecture and whatever else. And then after we have those answers, then the board can go ahead right now, I'm not sure. I mean, I may be wrong, but I'm not sure that we know enough about what the questions are to be able to have a productive discussion. Except to say,
I think you're right, Liz. I think
know.
that's where I think I'm at the same place. Yes.
So I guess we need to get them either sending all the questions to Inventive in some kind of a structured manner, via email, or let them meet with Inventive something before then. When we have those answers, then maybe the board will have a better idea of what's going on and can make a decision.
This is Gina. Can I say something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we should have another Zoom meeting, face-to-face with those questions, because they were very good questions, and I really would like to know the difference in cost between the cloud service and having a server. So I think if we could have a meeting and where we could sit in and listen to the answers, it would be really good. That's all I have.
Okay. Any more comments or questions for Warren? There doesn't seem to be any more questions, so or comments. So I guess Warren, you let us know when a meeting or how the questions are going to be answered, whatever. Or,
Yeah. There's
can
really
you give
two
us?
streams.
I'm sorry. Can you give us a timeline on that?
I don't have an exact timeline right now, but just to let you know, there's two streams of work. So there's been some questions that have gone directly to Inventive, and they have a share where they're sharing some answers, and that's of course generating more questions, which is great. And then there's some questions that are being passed around in the email group, which is also good. So I think if I take away from the discussion here, I'll work with Inventive and the team to get a meeting set where we can talk about specific structural things, architecture, as you said, and whatnot. Make sure that the questions are sort of prepared ahead of time so that we can, give Inventive a chance to answer intelligently. And do I understand that you're saying the board would like to sit in on that at least, or maybe be a part of it? I wasn't quite sure on that. It sounded like that.
I know that I would at least like to sit on it. I don't think that I have enough knowledge to be helpful in asking questions about architecture and stuff like that. I mean, my questions have been more about money or their timeline and stuff like that. But I would like to sit on it, and I'm sure that the other directors probably would like to also.
Yep.
Sure. Yep. Makes sense.
So, okay, so you let us know then.
Indeed. Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you so much, Warren. I know it's a lot of work. Okay, so our next item is the 2021 judge changes, and that will be Rick.
Yes, we've had a couple of judges that had to back out for one reason or another. And we do have some replacements that I'd like the board to approve tonight. I'll make two separate motions. The first one, there's a change to the 2021 obedience finals judge. Molly, and I know I'm not going to say this right, Molly Renga will replace Melvin Stanley. And that's that motion.
Do we need to second that?
Calla?
Sure, why not?
I'll second it. This is Gina.
Liz, would you like to call a vote on that? Hello, Liz?
Sorry, I was muted and didn't notice. Okay, so there is a motion on the floor by Rick, seconded by Gina, to approve a change in the 2021 obedience finals judge. Instead, Molly Reyenga would replace Melvin Stanley. Any further discussion? All right, I will call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. Go ahead, Rick.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Liz. The second change we have is to the 2021 dock jumping nationals. Lindsay Hines will replace Elsa Witten as the 2021 dock jumping nationals judge.
A second?
I'll second. This is Gina.
Okay, so we have a motion by Rick, seconded by Gina, to approve a change of judge for the 2021 duck jumping nationals. It will be Lindsay Hines will replace Elsa Monsive Witten. Any further discussion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. All right. Hold on a second. All right, so sorry about that. Our next item would be, thank you, Rick. Our next item will be the 2022 finals judges, and that would be Gina?
Yes. Okay, these are the last of the finals judges for 2022. I'll start with Raleigh. Jan, you'll probably, I guess, have to abstain from this one. I move to approve Jan Weeson and Sandra Walrath to judge Raleigh finals at the 2022 Nationals. And I need a second.
Rick will
I'll
second.
second that.
Okay, I heard Rick seconding, so I think we have a motion by Gina and seconded by Rick. And this is the Raleigh finals judge. It will be Jan Weeson and Sandra Wolfroth as judges for the 2021 Raleigh finals.
2022.
2022, yes, Raleigh finals. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Jan.
Jan Weeson abstains. Motion carries. Go ahead, Gina.
Okay, I move to approve Sue Graham to judge the 2022 Agility Finals. And that needs a second also.
Second,
Denise, I can
Rick.
second that.
Did I hear Denise?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion by Gina, seconded by Denise, to approve the Agility Finals judge, and that will be for the 2022 Agility Finals, Sue Graham. Any further discussion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Rick abstains.
All right, Rick
Carol
abstains.
abstains.
I didn't hear that.
Carol abstains.
Okay, so we have 2 abstentions, Rick and Carol. Okay, motion carries. All right. The next, thank you, Gina. The next item is a discussion on the European DNA lab, Surgeon. And just a reminder, what has happened is that PPG had sent them the markers that we are now using through PPG. For some reason, Thomas Jensen has either resigned or it's not working with them anymore. And he was the one who was working on this project. And so now they're saying that they're not going to be able to run those markers until probably the 3rd quarter of 2021. So I guess the question would be, what do we want to do? If we want to ask the European members to just go ahead and try to run their DNA through PPG, just like the members here in the US and Canada are doing, or whether we just want to let them continue using the old markers, whatever. I mean, I think that has its own problems, but I think we need to make a decision because the European members need to know what's going on and need to know if we're gonna ask them to go ahead and go through PPG until Surgeon gets the markers running. So I'm just gonna go around. Carol?
So thank you, Liz. I think that we should just go ahead and have the European members submit to PPG. It's not, in this day and age, it's not a difficult thing to be able to do that, as far as I can see. And if we're using it for Canada and the US, I think it should become a uniform lab and a uniform process, so that we don't, going farther down the road, we don't know. I mean, you know, before Surgeon said they could do it. Now, for whatever reason, the guy just, you know, resigned and nobody's picking it up or whatever. But they really can't tell us when they would be able to do it or if they even want to do it. So it just makes sense to me that we would have a uniform worldwide way of doing this, because it's not difficult to be able to submit the information to PPG. So I think we should just put that in place. If we need to revisit it later, we certainly could. But this makes it uniform for all members, and it makes the information uniform for all members. That's all I have.
Thanks, Carol. Denise?
I would agree with Carol. I think that going forward, if the markers are all going to be through PPG, I think that they should start that way instead of having to be changed from Surgeon over to them, because that would be an additional fee for them, and it would just take more time. And that way, as Carol said, all of the dogs have the same DNA markers universally, and I don't think it's a real hardship, because I think that the being able to submit the swabs for the DNA from Europe to the US is just a mailing. So I would be in favor of everything going to paw prints, and when Surgeon then gets with the paw prints markers, then they can continue on from there with the same markers. Everybody has the same markers. Thank you.
Thanks, Denise. Gina?
Yeah, the only way the database is going to work is if they all have the same markers. So I would say if anybody has sent anything to Certigen and they're unable to run it as of the date of the new contract, that they need to refund that money to the European customers, and the customer can in turn send it to PPG. As a future date, when Certigen, or if they decide to run PPG's markers, then the European customers can go back to them. But until then, they need to go to PPG. Thank you.
Thanks, Gina. Jan?
Well, I am concerned for our European folks. Part of all this negotiation was to keep them having a lab in Europe that they could utilize. I definitely understand we need the same markers and all that, and this seems very problematic to just disregard that. I'm not sure what we can do from here. So hopefully we'll come up with some positive ideas to get them moving forward quicker.
There's nothing we can do. I mean,
There's nothing.
it is their issue in getting the markers ready. They were, given to them back when we signed the agreement with Certigen before the change was made to PPG. But I'm not sure that we can do anything about it. It's their internal issues. I think that we're also having some problems in getting the chips that will be able to, that will facilitate running the markers as well. So I don't know if that's a supply problem because of all this, COVID-19 situation. I don't know. They didn't give us any details. All they told us is that they're not going to be able to run the markers until they think the third quarter of 2021. So that will be the fall. Okay. Jean?
Well, I think that we should just move forward and have one lab. I think they should just go ahead and submit over here. I don't think it's that big of a problem. So anyhow, that's what I have to say about it. Thank you. Please don't let your dog come close to mine. Thank you.
Thanks, Jean. Judy?
I think I need a little more information about the situation as far as, has Certigen committed to changing over the markers, and what is their reason?
We have a contract, Judy.
I know we have it, but obviously they didn't do it. So,
well, they have a contract in which they say they will run them as soon as PPG will give it to them, and PPG gave it to them. So now the situation is that for whatever reason, whether it's supply and the problems with Dr. Jensen leaving, they can't do it until the third quarter. I mean, there's no more information that I have for you.
I realize that you don't have the information.
Yeah.
I just would like to know if we can get that information, and do they I know we have a contract, but
Right.
obviously they haven't lived up to the contract so far. Are they going to live up to the contract? I would like to keep a lab in Europe for our European customers, but if Certigen cannot live up to that contract for whatever reason, then we do need to go strictly to PPG. I would like to find out if there are any problems with them submitting samples, international. I don't think there is. PPG likes the brushes and swabs, so that shouldn't be an issue, but that's what I mean about, I'd like to know a little more about the situation before I say we need to switch over right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy. Rick?
Yeah, as of right now, I don't see any consistency between the two labs, since Certigen is not using the paw print markers. For now, which I hate it for our European customers, but I think we need to strictly use paw prints. In the event that Certigen gets geared up and they're ready to run the PPG markers, I'm all for the convenience of our European customers being able to continue with Certigen. And I think they've told us that it would be third quarter. Would like to hope so. But until that time, I think for consistency, we need to have everything go through paw prints. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Warren?
So I am not familiar with the genetics, the markers, the need for a unified database, but I do want to, mailing things, at least right now, is not easy. And I've heard several people say they've essentially asserted that this won't be an inconvenience. I'm not sure that's true, and I'm wondering if we should do a little investigation to find out just how much of an inconvenience this is going to be to our European members. We may have no choice but to do it. It sounds like what I'm hearing is that technologically there is one solution, and it's PPG. That may or may not be the case. I guess it's not the case because we're not using them right now. So our European members got sold on the same contract that we signed, assuming that the vendor in Europe would live up to its end. But if we're going to change the rules and we haven't checked with anybody what the hardships are, I'm not sure that's really appropriate. So I would like to find out from the Europeans what this is going to cost them, or if it's even feasible, before we make a unilateral decision.
Can I say something? This is Gina.
Go ahead, Gina.
They are already, and not for DNA, but for genetic tests, a lot of them are already sending their swabs to PPG. So I don't think it's that much of an inconvenience. But we can ask them. There's not really a lot of choice because they can't use the old markers. It's going to be worthless. It doesn't work in our database. So I don't know what else you can do. So that's all I have. But they are already sending them over here. And you can also check with PPG because they work a lot of international clubs in Europe. So if you want, I can call Lisa tomorrow and find out.
Okay. Thanks, Gina. So, and thanks, Warren. This is where I'm at with it. I think, first of all, that I'm gonna speak to David about this. I think that any communication with Certigen needs to go through him. And so that's one reason why I did not reply to Certigen on any of this. And second, I don't think that if it's inconvenient, I'm sorry, but I'm not sure that we can do anything else. The markers must be the same. And we cannot say the Europeans can use the old markers and people living here can't, because then that would be completely unfair, to people, who has this, for whatever reason, attachment to the Ethereum markers. Okay. So I don't think that we can just say that the Europeans can use the Certigen with the old markers. I think we need to tell them. I think, yes, that we need to find out from PPG and stuff. But I think that the members need to be aware. European members need to be aware that this is the problem that we're having, and that they're gonna need to send samples to PPG until Certigen is up to speed. That's where I'm at. I don't think we have any choice, basically. I don't know if somebody wants to make a motion.
I'll make a motion. This is Carol. I move that, do we need to put a date on? Oh, well, we should have David review it. So I move that ASCA's legal department contact surgeon and inform them that until they are able to use the same markers that the European members will be doing their DNA testing, parentage verification through paw print genetics, and that upon board approval that we inform the European members that due to the fact that surgeon is unable to provide the service as contracted, that they will be required to do their DNA parentage verification through paw print genetics until further notice.
Denise, I would second that. I'll second that, Denise. Hello?
Hello? I'm having technical difficulties here. There's a lot of noise also coming through here. I don't know, maybe somebody needs to mute. Kala, could you please read that back to us? It's a motion by Carol and seconded by Denise.
Motion that ASCA's legal counsel contact Certigen and inform them that until they are able to use the same markers that the European members will be doing their DNA parentage verification through paw print genetics, and that upon board approval, we inform the European members that due to the fact that Certigen is unable to provide the service as contracted, they will be required to do DNA parentage verification through paw print genetics until further notice.
Okay. There's the motion. Any further discussion? Okay, then I will call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. So we should do all that notification, and I'll get in touch with David tomorrow. But we should do the notification to the European members as soon as possible. Okay, so the last item is information, further information on the Nebraska site for nationals, and that will be Denise.
Okay, I've talked to Bill in Nebraska further about the facility. Talked to him more about Matt's situation to be sure that there are plenty of mats. And I asked him where we stand right now. I also asked him for some names of stock contractors that are being currently used by their facility for supplying cattle and sheep. We'll have to worry about ducks a little later, I think, on this. But and so he's gonna supply me with that, and also I have asked him for a list of all the hotels in the area. So as soon as I get both of those, I can supply them back to the board. But at this point, I think that we should move forward and have them write up a contract with all of the details and give us the bottom line so that we can know if that's where we want to go. If there's anybody that would like to go look at that facility, if that's what we need to do, I think that's good with me, and I would be happy to make arrangements to try to meet them there and go through that. We'd have to just check with Bill, be sure that he would be available. So that's where we stand right now. He is ready to do a contract, and I think that as many details as I can come up with have already been discussed with him, and looks like will work for us. Does anybody have any questions or suggestions?
This is Judy.
Oh, go ahead, Judy. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Judy, then Rick.
Okay, I was just going to ask, is there any way we can have a head-to-head comparison between the two Nebraska sites? Do we have enough information on the other site also?
The other site was about the same, at least the same, and maybe more money. We went and talked to them. It's a great facility, but I have contacted them since and not heard back from them. So when we were there, we discussed the pricing. As I told you before, the pricing for the facility is well over $80,000. And Grand Island has a grant situation that they have agreed to that will bring it down to between $40,000 and $45,000. And the Lancaster does not have that situation. They have a grant situation going on, but the event coordinator at the facility said that they've never seen them come down more than $10,000, which keeps that facility way out of our range.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I would definitely entertain a contract. To me, it's going to be a bottom line. I don't want to have to hedge on a grant, whether we're approved for it or not. That could get us in a lot of trouble. We need a bottom line figure that we can compare sites. I'll be honest with you, by 2024, I know I'm from Texas and Bryan is very convenient, but I know our members would like to branch out a little bit, and I kind of feel the same way. I love the Bryan site, but I'll be ready to explore other venues if they financially suit ASCA's needs. They definitely have to do that. We can't afford the $80,000. That other place does not want us if that's what they're going to charge. But I would definitely entertain a contract and compare the Bryan site versus the Nebraska site. But I think our members deserve to have have a little variety, move it definitely more central in the United States. And that's just kind of the way I feel right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick. Any other questions for Denise?
This is Jean. I want to make a statement.
Go ahead, Jean.
Yeah, thanks for doing all this research, Denise. I'm looking forward to seeing what Bill can come up with for us. The mileage for me, where I'm at right now in California, it's 100 miles closer to go to Nebraska than to go to Bryan. So, but I think having the opportunity to go to a different venue, as Rick said, is something that the members would like. And I know that for other people in other states, not all the way on one coast or the other, I think Nebraska will be a more central location for them. So thanks, Denise. Appreciate it.
Sure. I know that when we first started looking for the reason we started looking for more sites was because of the influx of letters from the membership saying that they wanted to have something more centrally located. And I really believe that the dot on the map in Nebraska is very centrally located. And the weekend for this is October the 12th. I believe it's the 12th and 13th of October is the date. Yeah, through the 19th and the 20th. I believe that's the date that it is.
So we'd be able to have a move-in on Friday?
Yes, yeah. It was, when I talked to him, it was all the same scheduling as we have right now. And a lot of, the one thing about it is that I asked him about putting the mats in and all that stuff and what would that cost. And he said, oh, that's included. And I said, what about the setup of the arenas and everything? He said, that's included. So that is something I told him I wanted everything like that specifically written out in this contract so that we would know, because at our location in Bakersfield, they gave us the price of the facility, which was under $20,000. And then there were some things that, like the mat, the use of mats, they don't have them, so we had to rent them originally and pay to install them. So things like that, there was some additional, not a whole lot of additional things down there, but some. So I want to make sure that he has all that included, anything that I can think of that would be additional. And so, yeah,
that includes like the panels for stock.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he says that it is included. The only thing that would not be included would be the banquet, I believe, is where we are, the banquet and the dinners that we have catered. As I recall, that was the only thing that was not included.
And I'm sorry, what did you say about the actual livestock?
He's going to send me some names of contractors that have been used by different functions there. They do have stock dog trials, border collie trial, border collie trials, all breed trials, and so as well as like cutting and reining that use cattle. He's gonna send me some names of different contractors that have been used for those events, so that I can contact them well ahead of time. Like as soon as I get them, I can call them and find out what the situation is on how much the stock is and all that sort of thing, availability. He doesn't seem to think there's any problem with availability.
Okay, great. Yes, because we will need that information before we say yay or nay to a contract. So.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it'll take him a while to write up a contract as detailed
Sure.
as I've asked for.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments for Denise?
No, just
I
thank
just
you
have-
for doing that.
This is Carol. I just have one other comment, and that is, I agree with Rick that when we get this, it's great that there's some kind of a grant, but I would hope that on the bottom line, I mean, they can take into account the grant and all that, but that's on them, not on us, and that we would have a dollar amount that is going to be cut and dried, the dollar amount.
Right.
It is.
Right.
So that if they say it's going to be $30,000 with the grant, then that just means that if the grant falls through, it's still $30,000 to us, or whatever the number is. I'm
Correct.
just making
Yeah,
up
I
a
agree.
number,
I
but
agree.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And thank you, Denise, for doing all this work. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you bet. It's been fun. Nebraska
course-
Bill and I are very good friends.
And of course, once the contract comes to us also, the contract is going to go to David to be, reviewed before we get to vote on it. So that he has any possible revisions that need to be made or whatever, or any problems that he sees, so that, we're good to go on that before we go and vote for it. Any other questions and comments for Denise? Okay, so Denise, you wanted the board to say that, yeah, we would like to see a contract. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think we need a motion for that, but if somebody thinks that we should, because I think
I don't think we need a motion. It's just information.
yeah, in the
Okay.
past the contracts have come to us and then we have decided on the contract. So
Okay.
I think that I think from what I heard, and directors can correct me if I'm wrong, that we all want to see what the bottom line is going to be on that contract. And so I would say go ahead and get a contract written up and see, you know, let's see what David says and what the numbers are.
Okay, perfect. I'll call Bill tomorrow.
Okay.
And thank you everybody for your support.
Yeah, thank you, Denise. I know that has been a lot of work, so we really appreciate it. Okay, so that was the last item on our agenda. So I think I need a motion to adjourn.
This is Gina. I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I second the motion.
I'll
This is
second.
Carol.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Gina, seconded by Carol to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Any opposed? I'm sure not. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to everybody
Good night.
listening in.
Good
and
night.
to all directors. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Good
night.
night.